Hey there, film buds. Welcome to another episode of, actually, I guess it's more like buds being buds than it is properly film buds. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. Yeah, you can, of course, announce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
There we go. Just so that way they've got a sense of who all's here.
It's just the two of us.
In case this is your first episode. I hope it's not. I hope that someone had, if anyone ends up listening to this and this is their, first taste of us.
Oh, okay.
I hope that they would have had, a proper episode instead of this first, but hey.
Yeah, I mean, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a bonus episode, which is, I guess, also why I'm calling it more of a buds being buds kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We, over the weekend, went and saw Everything Everywhere All at Once by Daniels, and we saw Ambulance, directed by Michael Bay. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to go and do a little bonus review of kind of both of them. It's not going to be probably as in-depth, as our usual show, especially since they're new releases and things like that. But yeah, we'll go ahead and sort of jump on into talking about both of them. So the first thing that we saw was Everything Everywhere All at Once. We went Friday night. It ended up actually only doing, I think 6 million over the weekend, which I found a little bit surprising. Apparently it's still not in a lot of cities right now. But our theater was packed Friday night.
No, it was pretty full, honestly. I would say 98% of the theater was full.
Yeah. So Everything Everywhere All at Once is directed by Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert.
I get it now, the Daniels. Mm-hmm. I was like, what?
Yeah, so they directed this together under the sort of joint moniker of Daniels.
I like that.
And wrote it as well. It stars Michelle Yeoh, Stephanie Su, Ki Hai Kwan, James Hong, and Jamie Lee Curtis. And the premise is an aging Chinese immigrant is swept up in an insane adventure where she alone can save the world by exploring other universes, connecting with the lives she could have led. So, dear, what did you think of Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I really enjoyed this movie for a lot of different reasons. I really enjoyed that the title kind of played into this chapter titles instead of it, because I was really curious of what makes this kind of title. Everything Everywhere All at Once, unless you have a very specific idea in mind, could just be gobbledygook.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that it led into the narrative so directly. I do not think that this movie is for everyone. I think that it has a lot of crude humor in it. Just randomly, it felt like a really I described it the other day as a sophisticated Rick and Morty bits. They're not all the time, but they're definitely moments that would have made my mother blush.
Yeah, or just or very I think kind of the sort of weird out there ideas that you just see across a lot of media today, like the hot dog finger kind of thing.
Yeah,
feels very salad fingers, kind of weird internet culture
exactly
influence kind of stuff.
But for the most part, I think that there's a lot of heart to this story, and it's an interesting perspective from a type of character that we don't get a lot of leading roles from. And I really bare bones really enjoyed this movie a lot. I think that it's sausage party antics at points are just enough without being what the entire movie is about. Because I think that they take the idea of it being an infinite universes that she's pulling from experiences, literally. And so anything is possible, including a universe where she has hot dog fingers.
Yeah. No, this is one that I was pretty excited for, even though I wasn't familiar with the creative team behind it. I got roped into it more so through, like, Jamie Lee Curtis, and then eventually seeing a trailer. And once I saw a trailer, I was absolutely fascinated with what this movie was going to be. I thought that it looked really exciting. And going into it, it had that limited release, and so going into it, there was a certain amount of, like, awareness that I definitely had about what the online opinion was, sort of this movie, which isn't necessarily, a sampling of the public at large. But there was definitely, like, a high bar, I think, that this film generated for itself with all of its little buzz from its first opening weekend. And I think that it definitely lived up to a lot of that hype. You are right. They decide to take that premise of, like, everything everywhere all at once to its most literal extreme at times, where, it doesn't necessarily have to make any kind of sense. It's just, it's really going for it. But they also treat it dead seriously as well.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's it's people with hot dog fingers, there's, like, a semi-serious narrative that's happening.
No, yeah, but I guess that's why I like made it more of like a Rick and Morty in my mind. Like, those alternate universes. Like, what if somebody took those, like, ultra serious?
Yeah.
And gave me, like, the day of this person.
And so I think that it's super, super fascinating just how far-reaching it is, because so often the notion of infinite possibility also just seems very, and we do a quick costume change, and that's the extent of, the sort of alternate reality stuff. And they really go and fully play with every tangible possibility and outcome of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Which I really respected and really enjoyed a lot. And I thought that, it does have this very grounding narrative about, sort of what could have been and who we are versus who we wanted to be, at any given time in our life.
It's like expectation versus reality of, like, a lot of things,
And, it's interesting, the villain of the movie, is, without getting into too much spoilers, is kind of what the theoretical hope is for what you want out of the future, but sort of taken to its like darkest extreme. In the future, theoretically, anything is possible. And you want the future to theoretically, be the best possible version of it. But there is a chance that it's also, the worst possible outcome for it. But it's everything all. Again, it's sort of all of it all happening at once inside of one character as well.
No, yeah. So I guess I have a random question. This was something that I was thinking about the entire movie. Is the dad the kid from the Goonies?
I don't know. Yes.
It is! And Indiana Jones, oh my god.
He was incredible.
He did such a good job, but the entire time I was staring at his face and I was hearing his voice and I was like, all I can hear is that little kid. And it was driving me nuts and I completely forgot about it and I knew we were going to talk about it today. And I'm glad that I remembered this thought to have because it was driving me insane.
Let's get a little bit more specific with the cast. I thought that the entire cast did a tremendous job.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't think that anyone was lacking at all. Everyone was giving me top tier performance, and I think everyone knew exactly what this was.
No, yeah, and I also like as an actor, I would have loved to be in something like this. Like it's just so much fun. There's so much character work involved because with every universe there's a different version of all of our main characters within that universe, and that leads to different extremes of what these characters can be, the dad in some universes is like a meek man who's just like a happy-go-lucky dude, whereas like in other universes he's like an action star, and it's just like so interesting having so much range as well for them to play with, and all of them doing such a great job with each of them that none of them felt false as well.
No, yeah, every one of their versions sort of felt authentic and felt also within, with certain actors, I think especially, it felt within like some of their types as well, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was nice to also see a movie sort of demand so much from so many, because everyone had to do sort of some of this to a degree, and like Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't often get chances to do something so incredibly big and sometimes campy on a certain level.
Mm-hmm. And she and like everybody is just they're having a great time doing this.
Yeah. And obviously Michelle Yeoh is absolutely throwing herself into this movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. And she's been around for forever. But, as she has talked about, it isn't often that you get something like this, especially when you do turn a certain age in the entertainment industry. It's not something that you get, it's not often that you get something like this, above a certain point. And this is such a great character and such a wonderful story.
No, yeah, and I also feel like it's very relatable also, there are a lot of like cultural things that are happening, but for the most part, it's centered around our main character of Evelyn, who is like, I don't know, how old would you say she is? Like in her 50s,
Yeah.
50s, with a failing business and a failing marriage, and just trying to figure it out. And I think that that's a completely, that's something that's relatable for a lot of people, in a lot of areas. And so I love the fact that like this wasn't just told as like another, white perspective story, but it's still something that it's a universal concept.
Yeah, it hits at the truth of something that we've talked about before, which is that, no matter what sort of cinematic cultural tradition that you're looking at, from any sort of point in time, if you really peel it all away, at the core of it is a certain universal human experience, right?
Yeah.
And that's definitely what happens here. Mm-hmm. Because who hasn't felt like they're a little bit lost, at where they are in their life?
No, yeah.
Or that things didn't turn out the way that they wanted them to. No matter kind of what they tried, it never really panned out into something.
And I thought that this movie was really creative with like its message and how it was going to tell us this story, because like it for basically the entire movie, it like subverts your expectations a lot of the time. It's still a hero's journey story, but it doesn't do them the tropes in quite the way that you expect.
Mm-hmm. And characters also had complicated sort of emotional portraits. The husband, even though he wasn't a bad guy, this had been kind of his dream, and she kind of went and followed his dream. Mm-hmm. Even if it did at times cost her something that she was interested in, or could have gone and pursued further. But also ultimately ends up coming around to finding a lot of like peace and happiness with the life that she has.
No, well. Yeah, because like, once I guess you see infinite possibilities, like at the end of the day, this is such a human thing, is to still want the life that you had, regardless, after you come fully around to because like this is the thing, it's also yours, of all of these things, this is mine. It's not somebody else's.
Yeah.
I'm not coveting somebody else's things here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I thought that this movie was a great experience. For me, it's definitely like a must buy. I really want to watch this movie again in a less crowded environment.
Yeah.
Because our neighbors were nightmares.
Yeah, on both sides we had chatty Cathys.
Yeah, for just the longest. Like, nobody really cares. And it would always be in the quietest moments of the movies where these people were like, my thought needs to be heard 3 rows back. And I'm like, just shut up.
But beyond that, I agree with you completely. And I agree with you about the theater that we saw it in as well. But no, I think that this is definitely one that's worth a rewatch. I think that it kind of scratches some of that similar itch as other kind of sort of like absurdist films, kind of like almost Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I was thinking like Wes Anderson has a lot of like absurd things that he does in movies.
I was also going to say The Truman Show.
Oh, yeah.
Is on a certain level like an absurdist concept.
No, yeah. And I thought that it was just really creative as well. A lot of visual, interesting things happen, like with camera work and with the way that they do a lot of the CGI. It's, you know, it's fun. There's a lot of practical stuff happening as well, but like I think that they really amp up it with like all of the effects.
Yeah, everything looks great. You know, they keep it simple when they need to, and so the only time that they need to go insane with the visuals, they have that ability to really dive into it, because for the most part they do keep it pretty simple and pretty handmade and practical. And that's also the benefit of like staging the central narrative in one location as well. That's one of the smart storytelling devices that they do, is like all of your pretty much every location, even like the alternate timelines and alternate universe stuff that you go to, pretty much every single one is contained inside of a singular location. Or something that can be shot in a way, or a location that can be shot in a way that you can make it look like it's a lot of space when you're dealing with, you know, only a little bit. So really, really smart way to make your budget work in your favor. You know, it's not like every time that you're going to an alternate universe, it's also a different location.
Yeah, no. I thought that also that was really tight, having each alternate location we go to multiple times throughout the narrative, and so you kind of get to see this multiple stories unfolding within stories unfolding within stories unfolding, all about Evelyn. Like, I think that's really cool.
No, absolutely. It's a surprising movie as well. You know, it takes some real turns that are definitely just not at all the joke that you see coming. Or the bit that you see coming in the slightest. And there are certain return jokes that you don't expect them to return, A, and B, not in the way that they do come back.
Yeah.
And that's always great, is to have like your expectations subverted.
For sure.
Because we also see, I think, you know, I think the multiple universes idea is so popular
currently
in sci-fi and storytelling right now.
For sure. Everybody has a multiverse.
Yeah, you know, and so it can be a hard thing to make your version of it stand out, and also feel authentic and relevant to the story that you're telling. And I think that they use the concept really, really effectively here.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it ever feels like a cheat, you know, or anything like that. And it does feel distinct, and the way that they use it is so vast, and so clever, I think, that it really helps it stand out as well.
No, yeah, I love the way that they jump between worlds. I thought that was a really cool, just like script choice, honestly. At the end of the day, just have them do absurd things. I loved it.
Do the least expected thing from moment to moment.
That would get you into the trajectory of the of the timeline that you're looking for. Like, I loved it. I thought that was absolutely fantastic, because then also you got to have like a whole bunch of people running around doing crazy shit this entire movie. And it, again, to your point, it never felt like an authentic as well. It didn't feel like a put on. It felt like something that was, of course, this is the way that you have to do it, you know, in order to get to this outcome. Of course, you know, and I think that they play that very well and very seriously as well, which I think is great.
No, yeah.
Like, there are life and death stakes, but, like, you do have to staple this piece of paper to your forehead.
You know. The worst one is undoubtedly the paper cut.
Oh, fuck, yes.
The paper cut's just awful. But I did really enjoy this movie a lot. It is one that I want to go back to. It kind of also reminded me a little bit of, like, I Heart Huckabees, which is all about kind of... which I think is the David O. Russell movie, which is also about, he did American Hustle and Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh,
and
okay.
Three Kings, I think.
I don't know Three Kings, but I do know the other two.
That one's like Matt Damon, George Lucas, and I want to say Ice Cube?
I hope so. I hope that this is a part of Ice Cube's acting career.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's the movie... David O. Russell used to have a bit of a temper. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's the movie where he and George Clooney got into a fist fight on set.
Oh.
Supposedly. Allegedly.
I can't imagine George Clooney actually getting into a fight with anybody.
Well, this was also back in 99.
Oh, well, I mean, when you're young.
And I was right, it is Ice Cube.
Yes. Perfect.
But no, I found this really charming, and it kind of does live in that same space for me as things like Stranger Than Fiction, I Heart Huckabees, Truman Show, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Scott Pilgrim.
Oh yeah, that's fair on a certain... No, I see exactly where you're at with Scott Pilgrim. That makes sense to me. So yeah, I definitely recommend, you know, going out and seeing it if you can. If you feel comfortable to. If not, then definitely when it comes out for VOD or hopefully hard disc as well, you can go out and watch it, you know, in some sort of capacity. And
this was A24, right?
Yeah.
They usually put things out on...
Yeah, it should be coming out on disc, probably. Especially because I think that even though it's not, like, making groundbreaking amounts of money, I think that there's very definitely a core audience that is really reacting strongly to this movie. And I think that if they did a limited, or not even a limited, but a physical release, I think that there would definitely be a lot of people that would pick it up.
I know that we would.
Yeah. Moving on, we also went and saw the new Michael Bay film, Ambulance, which is based on another film, Ambulancen, which I'm going to go out on... Okay, it's a 2005 film. What country is it from?
It was released in Denmark.
I knew it. There we go. I knew that it was going to be something...
Yeah, it says it over there.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I knew that it was going to be Nordic in some context once I saw that it was Ambulance, and I was like, I know that it's going to be Nordic.
You just needed to pinpoint where.
Yeah. It's based on a film from Denmark from 2005. So at least this isn't one of those cases of, like, we did the foreign film last year, and next year we're immediately going to do the American version.
No, I think that's a fair thought.
It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Garrett Dillahunt, Aiza Gonzalez, Keir O'Donnell, Jackson White, Cedric Sanders, and our premise is two robbers steal an ambulance after their heist goes awry. Yeah, I mean...
That's pretty much exactly what this movie is.
I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I think that this movie was an insanely fun little thrill ride. It kind of scratched the same itch for me as, like, John Wick. It's this middle-budget, adult action movie that has a lot of crazy practical shit in it.
Yeah.
That is sort of just grisly, simple fun.
I think that I would describe this movie as what if we took Fast and Furious concept and gave it a better writer.
No, that's fair. I was thinking it's, it's Speed meets a heist film.
Yeah, for sure.
And Michael Bay is such... I saw, like, this sort of discussion that was happening on Twitter over Michael Bay as a filmmaker and whether or not he's good or bad, and whether you have to be good to be considered like an auteur filmmaker, if you prescribe yourself to auteur theory. And I think that Michael Bay, one, you don't have to be good, to be uniquely you in every single frame. I think that we elevate the auteurs that are good, right? But I think that you have absolute, dumpster fire auteurs. It's like a spectrum of Uwe Boll, who's kind of like a master of trash, all the way up to, Wes Anderson. I think that that's kind of your spectrum. And so inside of that, you have multitudes. You have, Paul Verhoeven. You have Michael Bay. You have Ridley Scott. So I think that Michael Bay is undeniably Michael Bay.
Oh, for sure.
You can always tell a Michael Bay explosion because it has all of these, and we talked about it after the movie, all these spark elements that also come out in the explosion. It's never just a gas ball.
Oh yeah, no, but when it is a gas ball, it's like a huge monster one. It's obnoxious how big and fiery some of those explosions were.
But I absolutely had a great time with this movie. I definitely understand why people have sort of a thematically love-hate relationship with Michael Bay and Michael Bay movies, and I certainly understand that, but I think that this movie was an absolute blast. It was some maniac shit.
No, for sure. And, like, honestly, I think that this doesn't, like, take away my favorite Michael Bay movie from its, like, number one spot.
What is your favorite Michael Bay movie?
That's the first Transformers.
Oh, okay.
It's the best movie ever. I love that movie. That movie's absolutely perfect. Even when it's cringy, it's perfect. But I felt like this movie had a lot of great things in it, and it ends up being a pretty great movie for the most part for me. Yeah,
again, there are some problems with it along the way. I think that the whole, like, gay couple in therapy scene is pretty eye-roll worthy.
Because also it doesn't really do anything for the plot other than set up a character that we're gonna follow in this string of, like, police and the bad guys and the EMT and all of this stuff. It's just another person on this list of people. Because also that's not even one of the scenes that I guess would connect him and our main bad guy, our Jake Gyllenhaal character, whatsoever. So it was just kind of like this is what he was doing earlier in the day before this happened.
Absolutely. Speaking of Jake Gyllenhaal, I'll also say that our three cast, I think, does a great job, but I think that two of them are in the same movie, and one of them is in, like, a slightly different movie. I think Yahya Abdul-Mateen II and Eiza Gonzalez are in the same movie.
Where Jake Gyllenhaal is just having a good time.
He's eating every scene, pretty much. That every time he's given the chance to speak, he's pretty much trying to devour the entire picture.
Well, I think that for Jake, I think that he has a lot of fun playing the bad guy and things. Like, you can say that about Spider-Man. Is it Homecoming? No, it's Far From Home. He's eating the scenery in that. And I think that in this especially, yes, I completely agree with you that like every scene he gets to speak, he steals every bit of my attention.
Yeah. Every time he's given something to do, a line to say, he pretty much just absolutely nails it. He's kind of right up there. This performance is kind of right up there with Ben Affleck in The Last Duel.
Oh, yes.
Where he's just
central.
making, a lot of big choices at times, and they're all paying off.
No, yeah, because they're also, they still work for the movie that you're watching, that they don't take away from it. But, like, no, he's like given me so much more of a true character than either of our other characters are. But that's, at the end of the day, I think what pinpoints him is specifically as our true bad guy of the film is the fact that he also does have this like weird twirl my mustache energy the entire time.
Yeah, he really is sort of a boiling pot.
Yes.
Until he's finally just sort of frothing over the edges of the pot.
Yes.
And it builds throughout the movie nicely, to the frothing, roiling boil.
Yes. I think that Yahya Abdul Mateen II is doing a phenomenal job in this.
Yeah. He's just in a much more serious mood.
Oh, yeah, but that's also because he's our good guy, bad guy,
Yeah, he's our straight-laced, good guy, sympathetic, central character.
For sure, and he's doing a great job. I think that his chemistry with Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic. I think that his chemistry with the woman who plays his wife is great. I think that he's just a really good actor.
Yeah, I've enjoyed him. We've seen him, in Candyman.
Yes.
And then we saw him in Matrix Resurrections. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed him in both of them.
Yeah, I think that he's doing a phenomenal job. I think that some of the things that he ends up getting to do as an actor aren't as great as they probably could be, but it's not any fault to him.
No, I think that he's doing a really great job. It's one of those things where, like, I would like to see someone give you, like, a really good, meaty...
Yeah, I want the true thing that's gonna make him, like, the star in my head, I guess. Like, these things have been, like, good, but I want him to truly, like, do something interesting that gets people like my mom to know who he is.
Yeah. No, I see where you're at with that.
Because I think that he's totally worthy of it. Phenomenal actor. And I do agree with you. I think that Asa.
Yeah.
Asa Gonzalez. I'm trying to read like over an obstacle. Asa Gonzalez. I think that she does a phenomenal job. I'm not really familiar, I guess, with a lot of her career as an actor. Her face is very familiar.
She was in Baby Driver. She was in Godzilla vs. Kong. She was the daughter of the bad guy Jeff Bezos, played by Demian Bashir.
Yes. Oh gosh, I completely forgot about that. So okay, compared to, I haven't seen Baby Driver in a really long time. But this compared to Godzilla and Kong, I think that she's way more interesting in this than she was. Obviously, like, she has a bigger role in this than she did in Godzilla and Kong. But also, like, she's such a Michael Bay part
type,
like it hurts almost. It's like the unnaturally attractive female lead who gets into, like, some crazy shit throughout the entire time, and, like, somehow, while getting dirtier, continues to look hotter. And you're just like, it's an impossible people goals to experience.
Well, and it's also, kind of not unlike the Megan Fox role in Transformers, in the sense of, 1, brunette, 2, standoffish in some ways, but also hyper capable.
Yes.
The Megan Fox character was hyper capable as a mechanic.
Yeah, she was a mechanic, could take a car apart. Like, that's what, made her interesting as a character, other than just being hot. Whereas, like, Isa's character, Cam Thompson, is, like, a very capable EMT, but she's also smoking fucking hot. And, like, literally the entire movie just constantly gets hit on by random people. And it's actually, like, I thought that it was a really smart joke that they were playing, and I think that that's also why these characters probably end up being bitches in film is because of the fact that, like, if that's how every guy approaches you, of course you're going to end up just starting to just be like, no, just leave me alone, you know, just like cut them down to size really quickly. So that way you can move on with your day without being like harassed the entire day. So that makes sense. But also, like, I guess I don't know if I necessarily believe that this woman who's probably in her like mid-30s is like that experienced of a EMT.
No, I get where you're coming from with that.
Unless, like, she straight up just, like, got out of... I guess like, she was supposed to be, like, a doctor.
She's 2 years older than me, 3 years older than you.
Oh, so she's not... Okay. So I guess I was right with saying, like, mid-30s. She's, like, what, 30...
32.
She'll be 32 this year. Her birthday hasn't happened yet already. So, okay. But still. Okay, that's exactly then my point, you know. Even with her being a failed doctor, I think that that's pretty... You just have to have this personality then. Like, you have to just, like, love the job.
I definitely don't think that any doctor or EMT would ever recommend using a hair clip as a clamp on an artery for an organ that you're then going to put back into the body.
Oh yeah, no, because that hair clip is not sanitary.
No, that's an infection that's just immediately started brewing inside of that body cavity.
I was thinking about that too, and the fact that like that's well, I guess not to give like too much away, but like that's a really big deal of the movie, and like the character that's the moment where I'm like, the character survives this, and I'm just like, that's the part where I was like, whoa. There were a lot of other parts about that surgery where I was like, well, this seems realistic. And then we just jumped off the deep end with the hair clip. Yeah. I was like, oh, no, don't do that.
So, not to go on too long with either of these, we forgot to rate the last one, so I guess we'll rate them both at the same time.
Okay.
What would you rate Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I think I'm going to give Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm going to give it currently a 4.5. I would like to rewatch it, and I think that the second watch through will be a better experience just because of the environment. And I hate to give a knockoff of the movie because of the theater that we were in, but it was so distracting, and I was having a hard time following the movie because like it was just chitter chatter happening everywhere. And I felt like I was constantly being pulled out of the film because of crappy neighbors.
No, I think that's fair. I'll go 4.5 as well. I would also like to watch it again and see, you know, how that affects my score, if it affects it in any way. I did think that it was a great movie for the most part. I thought that if I had to give it any sort of, you know, critique, it is that I thought that it was a little... of a very chatty finale, a little bit of a talk-heavy finale, which I thought was all really, really good stuff, but it is something that I thought sort of pulled it down for me a little bit. I felt like it lost a little bit of immediacy, somewhat, with how talk-heavy the finale was. But other than that, I really, really thought that it was tremendous and very clever and well done and fun.
Yeah, and also, like, it's just so much fun to rewatch a movie after, like, getting that first thrill of, like, finishing out, especially something weird and new and different. Like, I want to, like, to kind of dive in and really pick this thing apart.
Yeah. What would you give as a rating to Ambulance?
I think I'm going to give Ambulance, like, a 3.5. I think that it is a good movie, and I think that people are going to really enjoy it, and I think it's got a lot of great action and a lot of great acting in it. I just think that it is also, at the end of the day, just another action movie.
No, that's fair. I'll go 3.5, I think, as well. Yeah, you know, it doesn't do anything that's truly all that, you know, vastly different or challenging or interesting. But it does exactly what it wants to do, I think, and it does it really, really well. And I think that it's absolutely a good example of Michael Bay doing an incredibly, even if it's almost too lean action thriller with a really simple premise and good cast.
Yeah, like, I think that I would definitely recommend this movie to people, but I don't know if I necessarily, like, need to own it.
Yeah, I see where you're at with that. I might watch it again, but I'm not sure how often it's one that I would go back to.
No, yeah, and I think that that's where I'm at with it. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, again, they had some really, like, some things were really fun, really unique, like, little tricks that, like, they used to get out of... That's the entire time they're just trying to get away from the cops, pretty much, is this movie. And it's just, like, different ways of doing that.
It's like a very lengthy... It's like the movie version of what could have been a level in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. It does feel like a really nice what if Grand Theft Auto 5 was a real movie.
This is a level that had, Franklin and Trevor in it.
Yeah.
That didn't make it into the game, and so they sold this concept as a...
and it's now starring, Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But I think that works in its favor.
No, yeah.
On a lot of levels.
It's like I said earlier, like, I love the Fast and Furious franchise. I think that it is absolute turn off your brain fun and just like a crazy car movie. Whereas, like, I think that this is like that, but without all of the, like,
it's more like the first Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it's more grounded, it's more serious, and, like, definitely at the end of the day more practically, like, executed, I would say, than, like, half of the stunts in Fast and Furious.
No, I absolutely agree with that assessment. It's one of those that I think that I will eventually buy, but it's not going to be one of those that I, like, rush out to get first day.
No, yeah.
Kind of thing. Well, that's pretty much all that we have for y'all. We just wanted to go and do this little sort of quick bonus episode and review something new for y'all.
Yeah.
While it's new. So I definitely recommend going out and checking both of those out in theaters. Ambulance, especially in IMAX, if you can, because it's just such a big, insane experience. No one should have given Michael Bay a drone.
Yes, there's some great shots in this movie.
I think that it's almost destiny that one of these days he's going to try and fly an IMAX camera by drone.
Oh, gosh, if that thing crashes, people are going to die.
Yeah. But that's all that we have for y'all. Thanks, you guys, for listening, and be sure to check out our most recent episode, and also be sure to come back Friday for our second religious horror episode, all about the show Midnight Mass. Bye, y'all.
Bye.